All right, it's 6:01. We'll go ahead and call to order the January 7th of the Board of Education meeting to order. What did I say? Call to order the Board of Education meeting. If you would take a moment, rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ms. Diagana, would you please call roll?
Monica Johnson is excused. Amanda Proctor?
Here.
Nathan Hondo?
Here.
Amy Musgrave is excused. Michael Witt?
Here. Do we have any changes to the agenda? Do we decide we do not have any? We don't. Okay. I do need a motion to approve the agenda.
I move to approve the agenda as presented.
Second. Got a motion by Director Proctor, a second by Vice President Sassano to approve the agenda as presented. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Do we have any citizen comments on agenda items?
No, sir.
And do we have any staff and student celebrations and recognitions?
We do, President Wales and board members. We want to start tonight. I think board members have been asking for probably the good chunk of this year, maybe even as we end last year, around a messaging to close the bond that we passed 5 years ago. And I'm excited to share with board members tonight and the video that has been created. But also to share with you that publication is very, very close. I mean, I think it went to publishing today, maybe. So it's, and it will be, that will be sent out to everyone that lives in our zip codes. Any zip code we serve will get a communication that talks about the work that our community said yes to. So tonight we're going to watch a video that does the same thing, and will be part of the bond page on our website, and will be linked to the publication. And we'll go ahead and let that go.
Oh, I turn my volume down.
5 years ago, the Weld RE-5J community came together around a shared belief that investing in our schools is an investment in our future. Because of your support and the passage of the 2020 bond, that belief became action. Since then, we've worked hand in hand with our community to create learning environments where every student and every educator feels safe, supported, and inspired. Together, we've reimagined existing schools and built new ones to meet the needs of a growing district. Across the district, bond-funded improvements enhanced safety security, upgraded HVAC systems, and modernized classrooms. This expanded access to music, performing arts, athletics, engineering, and authentic career exploration.
I thought it wasn't gonna look like anything, but then when I came in, I was really surprised. Its lunchroom is really new and bigger, and we have 2 gyms now.
You get a lot of open light, and I wasn't really expecting the library to be that big and open. It was very different because this school is much bigger than MMS, and I feel like I've adapted pretty well to it.
My freshman year was the first year of the school. It was definitely shocking going from Milton Middle School, probably built in the 60s, very small roofs, small corridors, small classrooms, to really big open school, full of opportunity. You have all these different breakout rooms. You've got a beautiful arena. It's a really cool building, and it was pretty shocking just being there. It's just like a lot to explore. So
every improvement reflects our shared commitment to extend the life of our facilities, reduce cost repairs, and provide spaces that are developmentally appropriate, aesthetically pleasing, and ready for tomorrow. These projects were delivered with careful financial stewardship, completed under budget, supported by grants, and guided by staff every step of the way. But more than buildings, These spaces represent opportunity.
What I like about the Smart Lab is that it's like bigger, getting to do robotics right now. My favorite part about it is that I could do like anything and I could like test it out if it works and then see if it works, and if it doesn't then I could keep trying.
FCS teacher, there's mirrors that where you can see what she's doing on the stove, and I feel like that's really, really cool.
It helps our local businesses a lot, having kids from all these different diverse pathways, these workplace learning opportunities, which are these internships that high school students get for. And there's kids who have apprenticeships in construction and in power welding, whatever that may be. There are so many opportunities that kids can get involved in, and local businesses can also get involved in. And it's pretty much invested in the future generation.
Opportunity to explore passions. Opportunity to build skills for college, career, and life. Opportunity to belong. None of this would have been possible without you, our students, families, community members, and voters.
Just that extra couple percent each year is just a huge investment on their kids, their grandkids, but also their friends' kids, or their friends' friends, their kids' friends, all these different networks. And we're a small town and a small community, and if we really just invest in each other, there's really great things that can happen. And I know our economy, our local economy, and our local community is a lot stronger because of the ability and the new opportunities that students can have.
Your trust and support turned plans into places where futures are built every day. Thank you for believing in Weld RE-5J. Thank you for supporting years of progress. And thank you for building futures together in 5J.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for voting to invest in our youth.
I know that guy.
So a couple of thank yous. One, I really want to thank Kate. Kate's been in the district now for 7 months or 8 months. That project was sort of an initiation to the district. You got to learn a lot about us as you begun to research all the things we did in the bond, which some were clear in terms of what we were doing, and some took some digging to figure out exactly what we accomplished over the last 5 years. But I really want to say thank you for this. But I think when you see the publication, when it comes back from that, you'll also be impressed with how that laid out. And it's laid out in a way that each building gets some space, and it's really about the changes and the impact. And when we think about what the community allowed us to do, it wasn't just about brick and mortar. It was an ask for impact, and really feel excited about the impact that our buildings allowing our teachers to have, which ultimately are creating these opportunities for students. And so it's pretty neat to celebrate the last 5, and that will be a part of it. So I think as we say thank you, I think the other thing I just want to say tonight is I also want to thank the individuals that have been helping us with our long-range planning the last couple of years. They supported this video. So the video for us was content that Kate helped support. Kate created the schedule for the videographer to come out, and I think Kate probably created a good chunk of the words, whatever that, the script. But the video itself was free for us. We didn't do anything for that. And if you've done any of that work, that's a 5.5-minute video. And we have a sister video that's a little bit shorter, and it's exactly the same words. It's minus students except for the thank you. And that's simply so we have a shorter version. Both of them they created. That individual created, and both of them were free of charge for us. All that we paid really was Kate's time. And then the publication is similar in that it was content created by us, but we worked with a graphic designer to help us make it look professional, and And then what we're paying for as a district is to have it published or to have it printed and then mailed out. And just for context, that mailing it to all of the individuals in all of our zip codes will cost us, we think, about 15 grand. Kate did work on a couple different bids. She also looked into Kinko's, and Kinko's was expensive and a ton of work. The two bids, one was a tiny bit cheaper, but with a lot more work. Like, we would have had to, on the district side, figure out all the people that live in the zip codes and how to do that work. The other one was a tiny bit more expensive, at least on the front end, but does all that work for us. So from a staff standpoint, it saves us time. It's going to cost us about $15,000. Last year, if you remember, we did an annual report that was upscaled from the previous ones that we had done with the Breeze. In the past, there were 4 to 6 pages. Last year, we were quoted it would be $3,300 for 4 pages. I think we were 10 pages last year. It cost us $8,250, so $8,250. If we would have done the one this year, will be 24 pages. Would have been close to 20 grand with the Breeze. We're going to do it in this case because the work was donated or supported by. It's going to cost us about $15,000. So just contextually, just so the board knows what the costs were. We do appreciate Trainer and their work to help us think about. They've certainly been part of the 5 years. They were instrumental in helping us with the 5 years. They were instrumental, years ago too. They've got a ton of energy and experience in our district. But to offer up those amenities to us to help us close that bond has been good for us as well. So I just want to say thank you for that. And any questions or just a reaction to the video?
I don't have any questions, but the video is pretty good. Good job. I like that it is student focused and it's students saying thank you. We have and can say thank you all we want, but having the ones that actually experience what happens in that building is really powerful. So thank you for doing that. And thank you, Kate, for working on that. I know that was, I think, the first thing I asked you for when you started. So good job. It's very good. And then the publication, I've seen an early version. It's very good. I like the tone of it. The tone is very much about gratitude and thank you for supporting the schools. I know we do an annual kind of report every year, and with the Breeze or any other way, I like it being a little bit separate because I think it gets lost a little bit when it's inside the Breeze. But I think we should do something every year that's kind of like that. Not necessarily a video, but something that's a little more, here's what we're doing, not just the academics, that's important, but here's the facilities, here's the plan for next year. Yeah. Because that goes to people that have students in the schools pretty much know what's going on. The ones who don't, that are voters, that are going to vote on a bond eventually down the road someday, they need to know what's going on too. So having that communication to them, at least on an annual basis, I think is really, really big. So just put that on the back burner for next year. But good work. This is exactly what I was asking for. So thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm impressed with Trainer's donation in kind of that because those services aren't cheap and they are sometimes hard to schedule and get with. And so I think that's a fantastic addition that they did. I know it will help them as well, but I think it's true as a parting gift to the district to close it out. And thank you, Kate.
What you guys thoughts?
I think I
did capture it.
How many takes?
No, there's no retakes. I don't think anyone took a retake. No. Yeah.
Pressure was on, one and done.
Top of the curve.
Yeah.
I'm gonna refer HMU.
There you go.
No, I mean, I could sit up here and repeat all that Nate and Michael and Amanda said, but Billy Gray is thoroughly impressed, and I think it does an amazing job at explaining what we've done with everything, and hopefully it'll bring some morale for the next bond. Again, not coming too soon, but
again, kind of like what Nate said, I like that it's student focused. It's not talking about like the fact that we passed a bond necessarily to get new schools and oh look, we have a fancy school, but kind of rather obviously for the students and all staff members. I think that was a huge part for teachers. Like I know so many of our teachers at the high school literally cried when they got their new classrooms. Like just that kind of excitement throughout the district. I think that was really cool to reiterate there.
Well, that's all I had. If there's any other questions, the other piece I wanted to share with board members tonight was we had a kickoff at the high school on Monday, and I don't know if you yet have, but we've got a copy. I was presented yesterday. One of our principals takes notes, and we've got a gift for each of you. But yesterday when I was doing my one-on-one with her, she decided she was going to hand me the notes she took on the presentation that we did on Monday. And so you'll have a chance to see the themes we talked about. But what was empowering for me to think about in my 2.5 years here was some of the focus on student outcomes. And we were able to share some student outcomes. The one we happened to put up on the board happened to be the 3 grades at MES. But what was interesting was how many schools have 3 that thought the data that was up there was theirs, which says there are people paying attention to how their kids are doing. Then outside of what we did that morning, which really for us was celebratory in that sharing, was the work that the principals did with their staff when they went back to the buildings to dig deeper, to think about where we are, but also where we need to go. We haven't arrived yet. We still got opportunities ahead of us. Growth is good. We've got students performing at higher levels than they were. But to hear the work that staff were doing in buildings, to continue to think about how do we take this from where we are to where we want to go, that's a process, and it's pretty neat. We were able to come back around. Each time we've been with the staff, we've talked a little bit about rowing in the same direction, and we started there. That first presentation that I did as I introduced myself, but we keep coming back around to that. And so one of the things we asked principals to share with us was successes they were seeing in their buildings, and they did this before they left for the break. And we synthesized to what you see on the back, and I'm going to go ahead and read them so that they're in the public can hear. But these were things we celebrated with everybody in there. That in our district right now, we have teachers collaborating and being vulnerable with each other. We have teachers collaborating to maximize flexible spaces for learning. We have teachers collaborating to gain clarity on what students should know and be able to do. We have teachers collaborating to develop engaging, authentic learning experiences or opportunities. We have teachers collaborating to measure collective impact and use data to make necessary adjustments to advance student learning. We have teachers piloting new courses and curriculum based on student interest. We have staff members creating exciting new extracurricular opportunities for students based on their interests. We have staff paying attention to where their students are and where they're going. We have students are growing faster than their peers nationwide in most grade levels of our elementary schools in both reading and math. We have students demonstrating growth at Roosevelt Middle School in both math and reading. We have students showing growth at Roosevelt High School in both in reading. We have staff leaning into the culture of all students. All can and will succeed. We have staff committed to learning together to improve outcomes for our learners. We have family members, and we said to the group, many in that room, sharing the benefits that they're seeing from our efforts and the impact it is having on our students. And then we thank them all for rowing in the same direction. Much of what you have on there is examples of rowing in the same direction. And so we did that and then communicated. That wasn't from central office. Those are the words from leaders that happen to be in the building each and every day. And they gave us a bunch, and we were able to synthesize and pull together ones that were common. But we wanted our staff to hear that's what leaders are saying about what's happening in their building. And we were able to show some of that with some of the conversations we had. So I just wanted the board to hear that. I know our board members all have day jobs, and so as much as you'd like to be with us when we get to do that, you also have your other jobs that are pulling on you. So we wanted just to share a little tonight that it felt good, and we got good feedback afterwards. And it really was powerful when we started to hear from buildings what they were able to do afterwards in connecting their work to what we talked about as a whole district. So, and that's what I have for celebration night.
I'm impressed with the notes. Like,
I
who
was too.
who can do
It's pretty
that?
special.
Who is it?
Jen.
Sketch.
If you look at her notebook, it's all like that.
Sketch
Really?
note. It's
Yep.
all sketch note.
Does it, yep.
Sketch
She
note?
does it well. And I'd seen her doing it, but then when she pulled it out yesterday and said, hey, I started thinking.
Did you guys get copies?
Yeah.
In the new year, I want to hand them to people I'm taking notes of their stuff. And I was like, that's pretty cool. And for me to be able to see how that represents what was in my brain that morning, that's pretty neat. So, but yeah, that's Jen. So if you see her, and she talked about when she learned to do it and how helpful it is for her to keep track of. And so it's pretty, I mean, that's a talent in of itself. So I think about the videos you see where they're doing that,
Right,
right?
yeah.
Where they're able to do that. So.
Well, cool. Any other celebrations? Oh, I have one or two.
We have snowy. The last time we were here, we have some state things.
Yeah, but they'll be here.
Okay.
I think the state are coming.
Working on it.
Yeah, we're working on
Yeah,
it.
we were,
Feb. Yeah.
You guys didn't sign some sign language deal?
Yeah, they're like mouthing months to each other, like which month?
We were gonna do under recognition, the, you're just gonna talk about yours, and then we'll be.
Yeah, they'll be coming in future meetings we had state championship in Palms and second place in cheer, right? So, but for us, they'll be here with you in future meetings.
Okay. I just want to recognize our 3 student board members who, in the month of December, went to the CASB conference with us, and really worked hard with as part of the development team for the student leadership track. And then Liam and Hayden, they kind of stopped and got to be panelists, though, in a highly engaged discussion about bringing student board members onto a board. I think I seriously think we could have ran that session for a half a day, and we still would have had a list of things that we didn't get to. So you guys all of you did such a great job. It's pretty awesome I can remember like the first times I'd gone and, watching other students from other districts and thinking, God, why aren't our students here? Why aren't our students here? And so it was really cool to really see that this time and have people come up afterward and say, oh, you're the guy with the kids from you went to that? Yeah. So I'm that guy. So, thank you guys for taking time out of your busy end of the semester time to go do all that. I think it was well worth it though. I had a lot of local districts come up to me in the following sessions that rest of that day saying, we're going to come, we might show up at one of your board meetings because we want to see how that system will work. If you see us in the audience, don't freak out. So, yeah.
Can I add to that, President?
Sure.
In addition, we had someone from the state board who came up to us and talked about wanting to learn more because they're considering students on the Colorado State Board of Education. So that's pretty cool. It just speaks to influence. So
Just a couple of them, yeah. There's actually a couple state board members. Okay. Well, let's move on to our, let's just roll into our reports and comments from board members.
Oh my goodness, Monica's not here to start. So it's me. I feel like I don't remember anything that's happened in the last, what feels like year, but it's been 5 weeks. So I'm not sure what to say. CASB, I don't know what else. I should have had some thoughts because I feel like it's a surprise when it's never a surprise, but I'm not sure what I did. So we're gonna have to pass.
That's fair.
On the main, well, just again, I didn't get to go to the whole of CASB because of some of the stuff my wife was going through, but the part that I was able to go through was very beneficial. I just want to say thanks to the district for allowing us to go. It's a good time to be together and to learn a lot, see our students doing a lot of great work. So that was fun. And then again, it's kind of a weird time. There's not a lot of business happening, so I don't have much to report on, but I did want to make one comment about something I saw in one of our buildings just a couple of days ago. I went in with my wife she was working on some stuff for her sub. And I went into the break room, and in Pioneer Ridge, they had tablets, piece of paper up on the wall with all the stuff that they had done after, I think, the staff meeting, or the all staff meeting. They came back into their own staff meeting and wrote down all the celebrations that they have seen in each of the grades. I was just sitting there waiting for her, looking at all these different things, and all the things they talked about in each of those grade levels are all the things you just talked about for all the staff, all the teaming, all the improvement in academics and reading and math, talked about individual successes with students, individual successes with families. It was just really cool to sit there and see all the good work that is happening, even while the students aren't in the building. So anyway, it was just exciting to see. It was a good start to the year. I think for that building in particular, you could see it on those individual sheets. They might still be there if you get a chance to go. I don't know how long they'll leave them up, and I probably wasn't supposed to see them, but it was really cool to see that work highlighted in that way. So anyway, cool. That's it.
Annabelle, you have anything?
Yeah, so like they said, I got to work with a team at the CASB state level. So we planned the entire student section of the conference, and that was really cool because I've been working with that team since last March. And it was our first time meeting in person, first time like really getting to collaborate in that way. So my partner and I ran the opening session and also the board member and student roundtables we had later that night. So that was honestly such an honor and a privilege, and I'm really grateful for those kind of opportunities of advocating and kind of ensuring that everything is beneficial to not only you guys as boarders, but to the students who are stepping up into leadership, who are joining school boards across the state. That was a really, really cool experience. I've been doing a lot of work with FBLA. We have about 1 month till districts, give or take. So I'm running our district conference, so that's been busy, lots of emails, lots of drafting. Obviously, I'm back in school, back with academics, all of that fun stuff. So definitely on a busy schedule. And probably my favorite part of break was I get to be a swim sister part of the year. So my sister does high school swim. So I get to go to our meets, cheer her on, and they've been doing really, really well this year. So it's been really fun cheering all of them on.
Yeah, CASB was, especially the Student Leadership Academy, was well put together. Thank you, Annabelle. It was great to be able to meet other board members from across the state, meet other students in whatever roles they were in, whether they were on superintendent advisory councils, whether they were on their own student council, student governments, or they were some school board members as well. It was great to connect with a lot of those people. And then we were also able to be on the panel for the student voice presentation, which was really helpful, I think, for a lot of those board members. I mean, it was, as you guys said, it was super interactive. I mean, it literally could have gone on for hours and hours. How involved all of those board members were in that conversation. State Youth Council had a busy end of the year. We had our quarterly meeting just after the board meeting last month, and that was great. We got to go over what is going well with WIOA, the Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act. When we are using those funds around the state, what is going well with them, what's not. So that was great to go over that with some breakout groups. And then I was able to ski a lot during the break, so ski instructing is back in. And there's not much kids to instruct right now with the little snow, but we're hanging in there. And I think it's snowing tonight or tomorrow, so hopefully it's snow for the weekend.
I was gonna say there's enough snow on the mountains.
Artificially.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I was really excited about our little presentation at CASB, and I feel like it's everything I could ask for, other than I wish it could have gone on longer. I mean, we weren't just like, I really liked that they were asking difficult questions, like they were asking about some negative sides, and like if Lane got this, I looked at him and I was like, Can I answer that? Because I like it is a part of the job. Not everything is perfect, and it was really good to have those conversations. And I feel like a lot of people were. I feel like everyone in that room was engaged, hopefully. And it was really cool to be well-respected members of communities throughout Colorado and school districts from throughout Colorado look to us for answers. That was really empowering. And Casby as a whole was great. Again, props to Annabelle. I made some District 6 friends, and I also found out that they basically have a superintendent's advisory group, but it's like district wide, and they all sit on like a council together, so they're not officially like a part of the board or anything, but they have that, which I think was a really unique way of going about it. So it was really cool to see the different perspectives of how different districts incorporate student voice into their districts. The Monday after we came back, I went on an elementary school tour for music. For the music department at RHS, we toured all the elementary schools. That was really cool. Again, the kids are always amazed to see us, and I think they love the drums more than anything, but it was still really cool. And what was really amazing for me was when I got to MIS, when I went out to perform, like I saw like so many faces in the crowd, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, I know her," and they were like pointing at me. And then we had lunch at MIS, and as soon as I came out, I hear like this group of girls, I'm like, "Hey, come sit with us," and I like turn, and it's one of the girls from the superintendent advisory, and so I got to sit with them and talk to them, and I thought that was really cool. They asked me a couple questions about what I did, and then they were so funny. It was really great to connect with them, and I thought that was a really great experience. And today we got some words from all the elementary school students, so we got to read them. They were all, I think for the most part, amazed. So I'm really excited that we're generating that type of enthusiasm for performing arts. And then that Tuesday, I think. Oh wait, I might be backtracking. But the Tuesday of finals, we had our combined band concert. And again, great experience as always. The middle schoolers were so psyched to be there and get to play with us and everything. So that was kind of all I had. But yeah, I'm really excited that we're generating all this enthusiasm for performing arts and student voice.
I don't have a whole lot more to add. The one thing I will add, though, about the presentation that you and Liam were part of, my biggest takeaway from that was there is so much interest in doing what we've done and what Heritage has done. Did I say that right? Is it Harrison? Harrison. I knew it didn't sound right when I said it. Just based on the questions that were being asked. Because it's one of those things that's easy just to say, yeah, that's cool for them, good for them. But the questions that were being asked were people were really trying to start to think through this process. Could we do this in our district? And so I think it says a lot about the direction of public education. And again, I just want to highlight this district. I mean, it's another opportunity that, 15, 20 years ago, where are you from? And I seriously, it was the 2 sessions afterwards, Scott and I were in a session with one of the larger districts in the state, and when that session was over, the president of the board came. She was one of them giving the presentation. She to our table, and she's like, "You guys are from Johnstown, Milliken, aren't you?" She's like, "Here's the things we're hearing about what's going on there," and it feels pretty good. I got it. It really does. So, good work to everybody who's making that happen. We're becoming that shining light, at least in the region. So, well, let's head on over to reports from the superintendent's office.
I don't have a lot to add tonight. I did a lot of good things. I do want to just say student voice matters. And, you know, when you think about their student voice and what we watched at CASB, Annabelle, I know you talked about the preparation, which was awesome. The preparation you got to see was fantastic. But when you watch you carry a room, there are a lot of adults that can't carry a room like you did that day. So that's what we got to see, right? And we got to participate in roundtable conversation. And there was 150 people in that room, and you had them operating like a great classroom was. So I just want to say kudos, because that was pretty powerful to watch. And the two of you in the presentation, Hayden, your desire to answer a question that lots of adults would hide from, because it was about conflict, right? And you handled it like a pro. You talked right at it, but both of you create the energy around what, Michael, you're talking about. You can watch student voice. That is more powerful. We talked about it afterwards. We could have not said anything, and it would have been a more powerful presentation, because when the students started talking, the adults really tuned in. And so I'm happy it landed like that, right? We were not thinking about how to use student voice in a presentation about student voice. So it worked out great, but it worked out great because the three of you did awesome down there. So I just kudos to representing the district so well. And then the last thing I want to say, and Nate, you sparked this for me. We came back, and Tammy have this rotation where we do one-on-ones every couple of weeks. She's in 3 buildings, I'm in the other 3. And so I was in 3 buildings yesterday, and actually I'll be in Pioneer Ridge on Friday as a replacement. So I'm hoping to see what you talked about, Nate. But in the 2 Milliken sites, one of the things that they talked about was the pride those buildings are feeling and how students were doing. And I got to step in yesterday to a kindergarten room where the kindergarten teacher, when talking to me, was in tears, because we have kindergarten students performing at the highest level that she remembers ever in Milliken, and she's been there 20 plus years. So that's power, when you really get to see the pride our teachers are taking in their work, because students don't grow without adults. It doesn't happen. And in reality, students grow when adults have to do the work that's rigorous enough. And so the pride that's happening around that is really, really powerful to watch. And so I just wanted to put that in the room, that was neat to, and Milliken Elementary was able to go back, because the data we shared was ambiguous. We didn't put up a name. We just said we have a lot of this going on in the district. They were able to go back and say that was ours in front of the whole district, which is pretty cool. So I put that in the room, that was neat to experience some of that from buildings after what you saw.
That reminded me of one thing, and I wanted to ask you. I keep meaning to ask you, I just keep forgetting to do it. Did we get copies of that book from Hamish Brewer to all our principals?
We have not got copies of the book to them, but what we did, well, I'm not working right now, but hopefully I'm loud enough for everyone to hear. What we did is looked at, there were several videos. If you look out at him online, he's got zillions of videos. And so when we had all the administrators together prior to this, we looked for what we thought was the best video. I wouldn't say it was as good as he was in person.
I've seen him, yeah.
But it was good. And we had principals with us that day that were in tears, thinking about the work we're doing, because they feel like we're doing some of the same work he is, or he was. So we haven't done a book with them yet, but we did that with them and allowed them to then reflect on what they see. I don't remember exactly what the reflection questions were, but it was really about what did they see, how did he inspire them, and how does it inspire the work we're doing? And that's how we tried to leverage his message. So, and I do believe, Tammy and Kim were both there, that helped support what they were able to think about. And maybe I'd add one more thing. We asked our principals to think about risks that are being taken, because one of the things, particularly that I heard when I got to this district, was how afraid many of our staff members were to take risks. because risks have to be supported. When you take a risk, you can fail. And if failure is really an option, risks aren't either. And so it was neat to be able to hear our administrators talking in their buildings about creating the conditions for teachers to stretch themselves. And I know 2 buildings were going back after our conversation, and that was where they were going, was to celebrate. I have a wondering if in what you saw, there was some risks that they were talking about there. I just haven't seen and didn't talk to them about that morning. But that was pretty powerful to hear principals who are a believer in that now. Maybe always were, maybe weren't, I don't know. But you have to create the conditions for that. That's an intentional move. If you don't have it, then you have a bunch of people that may come to work, but they sort of feel like they got to have their head down because they don't want it to come off.
Right.
And so to see what's going on in the district and how many of and that's leadership and that's teachers doing that. It's, and it's sort of exemplified, first bullet, right, is when you're working in the teams we're now seeing, you are vulnerable with your teammates every conversation you have, because you're seeing where you did well and where you might have missed. And that is part of getting better, but it's also being vulnerable.
Right.
And so it's pretty cool.
Well, good. I'm glad we could leverage some of that, at least some of the energy. I know when you and I left that session, we were taking on the world. So
yeah,
I'm glad we
it was pretty
bottled
awesome.
a little brought it back. All right. Let's go on to our consent agenda. Any other questions for Superintendent Nielsen? Okay. We'll go on to our consent agenda. Our adopted rules of parliamentary procedure provide for a consent agenda listing several items for approval of the board by motion. Most of the items listed under the consent agenda have gone through board review and recommendation. Documentation concerning these items has been provided to all board members and the public in advance to assure extensive and thorough reviews. Any item may be removed from the consent agenda at the request of any board member. Otherwise, I would entertain a motion.
Move to adopt the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
We have a vote, a motion by Vice President Sassano, a second by Director Proctor to approve the consent agenda as presented. Any discussion on the motion?
I had one. I just wanted to, Jeannie retired, correct? So I just wanted to take a pause and say congratulations to Jeannie.
Yeah, congratulations for sure. And I make sure we get her on the invite list for the end of the year celebration for retirees, because she's held a multitude of roles in this district, and she served this board for a number of years in a variety of positions as well. So, any other discussion, comments? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Oppose? All right, our agenda is processed. We'll go on to our first item of special business, which is the approval of the year Nationals activity budget.
We have Alyssa and Coach Mock, who, as we talked earlier about, her team took second at state, but we approved a trip to Nationals early in the fall.
Yeah.
And tonight she's here just to talk about us providing a little bit of support for the team as they go, I think, Disney World.
No, we're doing Universal Orlando.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to Infinity Nationals. It fits a little bit better with the level of skill that we're at right now. We just think this will be a better fit. But with some of the stuff that we ran into at Nationals last year, just kind of digging ourselves out this year, it brought me to come for the first time and ask for a little assistance just to help me get my coaches there so that we can really allocate all of our fundraised money as much as we can to the kids to offset their costs as much as possible. It's because I didn't have as much raised from Boo Bash that I could spread out this year because of digging out of the deficit from last year from the unfortunate circumstance that we ran into when we were there. Yeah. So we're looking at, for our coaches' expenses, we have 6 coaches going to chaperone 29 athletes. And the cost for the coaches is $11,314, which breaks down to about $1,885.66 per coach. And we're asking the district to just help us with $4,000 towards that total to cover 2 of the coaches. And then our fund funds will offset the rest of it.
Any other questions or questions?
Well, Michael, we still have money, right?
Yes, we have budget.
I was gonna ask, is it something that if our funds allocate and like we're allowed to, if we can even cover instead of just the 2 coaches, maybe like 3, is that a possibility and something we can do? We only give the given amount.
Well, we have a set amount that's in the bucket that the
Okay.
board has to play with, so we've tried to work around this, what Coach Mark is asking for, 2 staff members, 2 coaches, so that we can be somewhat consistent with the multiple. We have an interesting challenge at Roosevelt right now that hasn't always been in place, where we have lots of groups that are experiencing life outside of college, which is awesome because it's opportunity.
Lots of success.
Lots of success, and so that's my answer to that. I don't know, Mr. Everest, if you'd answer that differently than I just did.
No. I think you said it well, Superintendent.
Yeah. Thank you for the clarification.
All right, if there's no other questions or comments, entertain a motion on this.
I'll motion to approve the funds request as presented.
Second.
We have a motion by Director Proctor, a second by Vice President Sis to approve the activity budget for Cheer Nationals request. Any further discussion on the motion?
Good luck. Thank you.
Ms. Diagana, would you please take roll?
Amanda Proctor,
Yes.
Nick Sassano,
Yes.
Michael Whale.
Yes. All right, have fun.
Thank you.
Can't wait to hear.
Yeah.
February 5th we leave, so thank you guys.
Thank you.
Our next item of special business is the update to the district mileage reimbursement for 2026. I think that's going to Mr. Everest.
Thank you, President Wales, members of the Board of Education, and Superintendent Nielsen. Tonight, where district administration is asking the board to consider increasing the mileage reimbursement rate for the district to be in line with what the IRS has published for 2026. For 2025, the reimbursement rate was 70 cents per mile, and that has increased to 72.5 for 2026. Current board policy allows the board to set the district's mileage reimbursement up to the IRS mileage reimbursement rate. And then our requested action, district administration is requesting the Board of Education to consider increasing the district's mileage reimbursement rate to 72.5 cents per mile to match the IRS reimbursement rate for 2026. If the board does opt to change the district's reimbursement rate, district administration requests the change to be made retroactive to January 1st, 2026. And this concludes my presentation, and I can answer any questions the board may have.
Any questions?
Just one that I think is pretty simple. Is there any ramification if we don't increase the rate?
The current board policy is, the board can it to the rate. I mean, it's really at your discretion what you'd like to do.
But there's no consequence if we don't. I'm just wondering if there's any kind of legal requirement to match with the IRS.
No.
Just curious.
That's just for IRS purposes, and many organizations and businesses kind of use that as a milestone or as a benchmark for how they rate their mileage.
I believe there's consequences if you do more because you're creating taxable income.
I was just curious.
Anybody else? I entertain a motion on this.
I will move to approve the increase in the district mileage reimbursement to match the IRS reimbursement level effective January 1st, 2026.
Second.
We have a motion by Vice President Sassano, a second by Director Proctor to update the district mileage reimbursement as presented for 2026. Any discussion on the motion?
I do have a question, and this is probably more straightforward. But is this for the district to report for the IRS, or is this for people who can report this personally?
So when a district staff member uses their personal vehicle for district travel, if they turn in mileage for that's what this rate is referring to.
Okay.
Or what this rate is for.
Okay, okay. I just didn't know if it was pertaining specifically to personal vehicles or like district vehicles, but.
No, district vehicles, the district pays for the maintenance and upkeep of those, so.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, Ms. Diagana.
Amanda Proctor?
Yes.
Steve Stefano?
Yes.
Michael Weld?
Yes. I'm surprised nobody asked anything about the 0.5 half a cent.
I mean, gas is charging half a cent sometimes. Yeah, you can pay like 1/10 of a penny.
Especially when the penny's going away. Like, now what? Our next item is the approval of the district internet service. I think that's you as well.
Thank you again, President Wales. In December, the district's E-rate consultant, which is E-rate Central, conducted a competitive bid for the district's internet services for the 26-27 fiscal year. There was one completed bid, and that was from TDS. The TDS bid is pricing of $9,450 for 8 locations for 12 months, and that totals out to $113,400. This is currently a 1-year contract, and just kind of as a frame of reference, so this is for the rate program that the district participates in. So we actually get a reimbursement, from the federal government for. It's basically for this particular thing, for communication services. And our E-rate reimbursement for the current fiscal year is $64,759. So, as you can see, it's, more than half of, what we would be paying without it. So, and then our requested board action, district administration is requesting the Board of Education to approve the successful TDS bid of $113,400 for the district's internet services for fiscal year 2026-27. This concludes my presentation, and I can answer any questions the board may have.
What do we pay our E-rate consultant? Is it a flat fee, or is it a percentage based off of federal funds award?
It's a flat fee. So we pay a flat fee, but the fee is based off of our total E-rate allocation that we get, and there's type A services and type B services. Type A services are these communication services, and then type B services are an allocation that we get that is over, the allocation lasts for 5 years, and it's for telecommunications equipment. So things like routers and communications equipment upgrades for that. So the amount that we pay each year is based off of our allocation. That is currently, and I should have looked this up before, but it's in the neighborhood of $10,000 a year is what we pay them.
Thank you.
Do you know why there was only one bid? Are they the only provider that can do what we need them to do?
So I know there was another bid from another company. It wasn't a complete bid, and they were given an opportunity to complete the bid, and it didn't happen. So there was basically just one bid. I think, primarily it's just kind of the location that we're in. Although, there's other providers coming in. So, in the future, there may be opportunities if the decided to switch to another provider. All of our contracts for internet service. This mentioned that that there's 8 sites, so there's really 8 individual contracts, but they all begin and end at the same time. So if we did decide that we wanted to seek out another provider, everything ends at the same time with TDS.
Okay,
that's consistent.
Are we soliciting bids from these companies, or are we putting it out on whatever that bid website is and seeing who?
Well, I think E-rate's different. E-rate works different because they have their own approved vendors.
So they handle the bid process for us.
Our consultant does.
Yeah.
Okay. And as Director Proctor said, the E-rate process have their own website that's done with.
Okay.
So.
There's a lot of angst in the community about TDS as a residential service provider. Mm-hmm. This is different because it's not residential service, and I hope people are aware that when your service goes out of your house, it doesn't always mean it's gone out of the school that's in your neighborhood, because it's a different line that serves, at least that's what we were told a while ago. So I just want to make sure we're doing our due diligence and looking at the options that are out there, because I know there is a lot of angst about it. I'm a TDS customer residentially. It's not always great, but it's different for the school. The service is different. So thank you for doing that with me.
Absolutely.
I have a question to kind of piggyback off what Nate said. What if I'm not saying we are deciding this, but what if we decided that either we don't want to use TDS or we don't like their bid, like specifically like maybe the numbers, what would happen after that? Obviously, I know after June 30th, we would have internet, but like what would the process be like if today we voted no? I'm just curious.
I think really essentially if there were a no vote to not accept this, I mean, I guess it kind of depends what that no vote means, because what we're doing is we're accepting this in conjunction with the E-rate reimbursement. So, I mean, I guess we would be giving up that $65,000 as a reimbursement for it. With this process right now, I mean, we are, if the board approves, we would be locked in, to another 1-year contract with TDS for 26-27. So if we did not want to do that, I don't really know. I would assume because we have to have internet access.
Yeah.
So
I was just curious. Like, I'm not saying I'm like against this or anything. I was just wondering what the process would be if we were to vote no.
I mean, really, our opportunity to change would be during the process that happened last month. And they're really, I mean, we're just kind of, waiting with other providers that are, coming into the community. There wasn't a big impetus to change, for 26-27. Because the district administration would kind of like to see what, how the other providers are doing, in the community. We don't want to necessarily be the first to switch necessarily. So.
Okay, thank you.
Questions, comments? I'm assuming we need to take action on this, so we don't have that listed as an action item, but.
Yes, if the board could just, as per our procurement policy, this contract is just over 100,000, so.
Okay. Would entertain a motion.
I'll motion to approve the TDS bid for the district's internet service for fiscal year 26-27.
Second.
I have a motion by Director Proctor, a second by Vice President Sassano, to approve the district internet E-rate service bid for the 26-27 school year. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, Ms. Diagana?
Amanda Proctor?
Yes.
Nate Capano?
Yes.
Michael Webb?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Everest.
Thank you.
Do we have any citizen comments on general topics? Any other items deemed necessary by the board?
I have one, Michael, I'd love to, and I'm I'm bummed it's just three of you, but, oh, sorry. I just want to put in front of the board members, and Michael, you and I talked about this a little bit, but we saw a petition at CASB about a way for us to be structured around agenda setting to make sure that all board members have access to making sure they get on the docket, or at least in front of us, items that they would like to see us look at and consider for board meetings. And so one of the things I'd like to put on an agenda in the future is just a work session to talk about how. We listened to Boulder and how they structure their agendas, and it was a much more inclusive process. And it's not to say I don't feel like it's inclusive and we have access, but I think theirs could step us up a little bit. And so I just love to just put that out in front of the group.
Yeah, so, and we talked about that we're going to try to do this in one of these upcoming work sessions that we're going to have. And we've kind of been working towards this direction for some time. The way we're doing our agendas now is a little more structured. So we're doing the one business meeting a month, and we're doing one work session a month. And a lot of that was because we are really trying to structure how the agendas are put together. And so Ms. Diagana has been keeping track of all the things that we need to do through the course of a year, either that were required by state, federal, or our own policy. So anytime we have a deadline, she's already ahead of that. So we already have those pre-built into our agendas. So this just takes it that next step further. How do we get everybody the opportunity to, if you have an issue, somebody from the community comes to you with an issue, how do we get those into the agenda? So when we kind of show this to you in the work session, we're like 95% there right now. It's just going to be a couple of tweaks. We should have a really smooth running system, structured system. That's the nice way to put it. That's structured and transparent, so everybody can see what's going on. Awesome. Anything else? My glasses back on now and read the time. Jeez. We'll go ahead and adjourn at 7:04. Thank you, everybody.